The email arrived at 9:17 a.m., just as the entire marketing team gathered around the long glass table. Ara felt his phone vibrate in his pocket, but he ignored it. Across from him, Rohan was presenting slides with smooth confidence, speaking about the campaign Arav had built from scratch. The idea, the strategy, the sleepless nights refining every detail, it was all Arav's. Yet Rohan stood there claiming it as his own. Arav watched in silence as the senior executives nodded in approval. When the presentation ended, applause filled the room. Their director smiled and said, "Rohan, this is brilliant. Exactly the kind of leadership we need." Leadership. Arav felt the words sink like a stone in his chest. His phone vibrated again. This time, he checked it. Subject line: promotion announcement. He opened it quickly. The position he had worked toward for 3 years, the one he had been promised after. Delivering a breakthrough campaign had been given to Rohan. Officially, effective immediately. Arav's throat tightened round him. People congratulated Rohan. Some glanced at Arav with sympathy. Others avoided eye contact. Rohan caught his eye for a brief second. There was no guilt there, only triumph. The meeting ended and chairs scraped against the floor. Arav stayed seated. Tree played every moment of the past 6 months in his mind. The late evenings when Rohan had asked for help polishing ideas, the shared documents, the casual questions about strategy, had trusted him. They had started on the same day. They had celebrated birthdays together. He had once called Rohan a brother. "Hey," Rohan said softly, approaching him. "I was going to tell you." Arav stood slowly. "Tell me what?" "That management was considering me for the promotion." It all happened fast. Arav studied his face. "The campaign was mine." Rohan sighed as if burdened. "We worked on it together." "No," Arav replied, voice steady. "You watched." Rohan's jaw tightened. "Look, this is how things work. I pitched it better. I took initiative." "You're good with ideas, Arav. But leadership is more than that." Leadership. The word echoed again. Arav felt heat rise behind his eyes but refused to let it show. "Congratulations," he said quietly, then walked out before his composure cracked. Outside, the city buzzed like nothing had changed. Cars moved, vendors shouted. Life went on. Arav stood on the pavement staring at the glass building that had once felt like a dream fulfilled. He had grown up believing that hard work protected you, that if you stayed honest and loyal, the world would reward you. Now he felt foolish for believing it. At home that evening, the silence was heavy. His apartment was small but neat, every item earned with effort. On the shelf near his desk stood a framed photo of him and Rohan from their first corporate event, thrown over each other's shoulders, smiling like they had conquered the world. Arav picked it up and turned it face down. His mind would not stop racing. He opened his laptop and reviewed old emails. There it was, his original proposal sent months ago. Detailed plans, data models, creative drafts. Rohan had replied, praising it. Later, Rohan had requested access to the files. Later still, the presentation had been moved under Rohan's name. Step by step, like a quiet theft, the betrayal hurt more than the lost title. Arav had defended Rohan once, when others questioned. His commitment, he had vouched for him to management. He had shared credit freely. Now he saw it. Clearly Rohan had been observing, waiting, positioning himself. His phone buzzed with messages from colleagues. Tough break. It deserved. In office politics, each message felt like salt. None offered solutions. He thought about confronting the director. But what would he say? That he had trusted the wrong person? That he had failed to protect his own work? In corporate language, that sounded like weakness. The next morning, Arav arrived early. He watched from his desk as Rohan entered with new confidence. There was a different energy around him now. People leaned in when he spoke. Authority changed posture, tone, even breathing. Arav forced himself to focus on tasks, but whispers reached him. Rohan's campaign is going national. He might get a regional role soon. Each word pressed against Arav's chest. At noon, Rohan called for a team meeting. Arav sat near the back. Rohan outlined future plans using slides Arav recognized instantly. His frameworks, his research. Only the title slide had changed. As you can see, Rohan said smoothly, this strategy is built on long-term brand trust. Arav almost laughed. Trust. When the meeting ended, their director approached Arav. I know this is disappointing, she said gently, but there will be other opportunities. Arav nodded. Of course. Rohan showed strong initiative. You should learn from that. The word struck deeper than she intended. Learn from that. Learn to take credit. Learn to move first. Learn to protect yourself. That night Arav could not sleep. Anger pulsed through him, sharp and restless. He imagined exposing Rohan in front of everyone, forwarding old emails, showing timestamps. Watching Rohan's polished image crack. But another voice whispered, would that fix anything? Would it restore what was taken? He thought of his father, who had spent 30 years in a factory and once told him, your name is your true wealth. Guard it. Rohan had guarded his. Arav had not. By the third day, something inside Arav shifted. The shock faded, the hurt cooled into something steadier. A clear, quiet resolve. He stopped avoiding Rohan. Instead, he observed him, watched how he spoke to clients, noted where he exaggerated numbers, noticed small cracks beneath the charm. Rohan was ambitious. That was not a crime. But ambition without loyalty left damage behind. On Friday evening, Arav stayed late. He opened a blank document and began outlining every contribution he had made, every idea, every file. Version. Not to send yet, just to record. To remind himself he was not imagining the theft. As he typed, memories surfaced. The night Rohan had insisted they order food and keep working. The moment Rohan had said, if one of us makes it big, we both. Betrayal always felt personal because it was. He realized something then. His desire was no longer just about the promotion. It was about dignity, about proving he was not invisible, about making sure trust was not mistaken for weakness again. His reflection in the dark window looked different, harder, sharper. He did not like the anger, but he could not deny its power. It fueled focus. It silenced doubt. He would not shout accusations in hallways. If he moved, it would be precise, 'cause Rohan had not defeated him through talent alone. He had studied him, used patience. Timing, Arav could do the same. The following week, he volunteered for tasks under Rohan's supervision. Rohan seemed surprised but pleased. Glad you're still on board, he said. For the team, Arav replied calmly. Inside, he felt the storm building. Would learn everything about Rohan's new role, every pressure point, every expectation from management, and when the moment came, he would decide what to do with what he knew. A quieter question lingered beneath the anger. If he destroyed Rohan's reputation, would he become the same kind of man? He did not know the answer yet. All he knew was this: the trust he wants. More cautious, more strategic. And as Arav shut down his computer that night, he understood that the real battle had just begun. Arav did not rush. He learned. That became his first rule. He stopped reacting and started observing. Every morning, he arrived before Rohan and reviewed the project dashboard. Every evening, he stayed late, studying reports, client feedback, and budget summaries. He volunteered for tasks others avoided: data cleanup, vendor coordination, market analysis. Rohan praised his team spirit, unaware that Arav was mapping the entire system from the inside. The national rollout of the campaign was massive. New cities, new partners, bigger risks. Rohan handled presentations with charm, but Arav noticed the gaps. Forecast numbers were slightly inflated. Deadlines were tight but presented as comfortable. Client expectations were raised high. Rohan liked bold promises. Arav preferred solid ground. At night, Arav built a private file. Not rumors, not emotions, facts, screenshots of timeline changes, copies of original proposals, version histories showing his authorship. Notes from meetings, where his ideas were rebranded under Rohan's voice. He kept everything clean and organized. If he ever spoke, he would speak with proof. Still, anger moved through him like quiet fire. Sometimes he imagined walking into the director's office and placing the evidence on her desk. Other times he pictured something sharper, letting Rohan fail publicly by stepping back at the right moment. Let him face the consequences of his overconfidence. Let the numbers collapse under their own weight. But each idea brought a second thought. Would exposing him bring peace, or just create new chaos? The company thrived on results. Management might not care who built the plan as long as it worked. One evening, Arav overheard Rohan on a call in the conference room. The door was slightly open. Yes, we can deliver a 15% growth in the first quarter, Rohan said smoothly. Arav froze. 15% was unrealistic. The data suggested 8 at best, Rohan continued. Our projections are strong.
After the call,
Arav stepped inside. 15%. He asked quietly. Rohan leaned back in his chair. Clients want confidence. They want results, Arav replied. Rohan's expression hardened. You worry too much. This is leadership. You set the bar high, then you push the team. Arav held his gaze, and if we miss it, we won't. The certainty sounded forced. That night, Arav updated his file. He added the recorded projection from the meeting minutes. Not to trap Rohan, but to prepare. Days passed, pressure built. Vendors complained about rushed timelines. One supplier warned that quality might suffer if production accelerated further. Arav relayed the concern to Rohan. Handle it, Rohan said. Negotiate. That's why you're good. The words were casual, but Arav noticed something. Rohan no longer checked details. He delegated aggressively. He focused on image, not structure. Inside Arav, two forces pulled against each other. One urged patience. Let him overpromise. Let reality catch up. The other whispered caution. The campaign failed, the whole team would suffer. Jobs were on the line, its own included. He went home exhausted, staring at the ceiling in the dark. Revenge sounded powerful in theory. In practice, it was messy. Collateral damage was real. The next week, the first warning sign appeared. Early performance numbers from one city were weaker than projected. Not terrible, but far from 15%. Arav prepared a revised forecast with realistic adjustments. He sent it to Rohan privately. Rohan called him in immediately. I? Would you create this? He asked, tapping the paper. Because the numbers are shifting. You're undermining confidence. I'm protecting accuracy. Rohan stood up. Listen carefully. If this campaign stumbles, it affects both of us. So stop acting like an outsider. The irony almost made Arav smile. I'm trying to prevent a stumble. Rohan lowered his voice. Do you want this to fail? The question hung heavy in the room. Aarav paused. For a brief second, he imagined saying yes. Imagined watching Rohan's image crack under pressure. But he saw something else. Two the team members who trusted him, the junior analysts, who stayed late because he encouraged them. I wanted to succeed, Arav said finally, but not based on illusions. Rohan studied him carefully, as if trying to read hidden motives. Fine, we adjust internally. But we do not share this revised forecast yet. Arav nodded, though doubt lingered over the next few days. He worked harder than ever. He corrected weak segments, strengthened digital placements, negotiated better ad slots. He stabilized areas Rohan had overlooked. No one knew how much effort it took. That anonymity stung, but it also gave him control. Yet the internal conflict grew stronger. Every improvement he made protected Rohan's reputation. Every late night erased evidence of poor leadership. Was he saving the company or rescuing the man who betrayed him? One afternoon, the director requested a progress review. Arav watched as Rohan presented updated slides. This time, projections were toned down closer to Arav's numbers. No credit was given. No acknowledgement. During the Q&A, a board member asked, "What's your contingency plan if growth slows?" Han hesitated for half a second. Arav noticed. "We've built flexible models," Rohan replied. "Our team monitors performance daily." The board member nodded. "Good, because markets are unpredictable." After the meeting, Rohan exhaled deeply in the hallway. "That was close," he muttered. Arav realized something important then. Rohan was not fearless. He was afraid of failure, of losing status, of slipping back into anonymity. His ambition came from insecurity. That understanding softened the edges of Arav's anger, but it did not erase the betrayal. Late that night, Arav opened his evidence file again. He scrolled through emails and timestamps. He imagined forwarding it to the director with a simple message for transparency. It would not be dramatic, it would be factual. Rohan's promotion would be questioned. Trust would fracture. His finger hovered over the trackpad. Then he stopped. If he sent it now. During a critical rollout, it would destabilize everything. Management might see it as sabotage. His intentions would be questioned. It would become part of the chaos. He closed the laptop. Instead, he began drafting something else's strategic proposal under his own name. A new expansion idea built from fresh data. Independent, clear, innovative. If he wanted recognition, he would create undeniable value again. But this time, he would guard it fiercely. Weeks moved quickly. Performance improved steadily, though, not explosively. Growth stabilized at 9% respectable, but far from the bold promise. Clients were satisfied but cautious. One evening, as the office emptied, Rohan approached Arav's desk. He looked tired. "You've been carrying a lot," Rohan said quietly. Arav looked up. "So have you?" Rohan hesitated. "I know you think I took something from you." Arav did not respond. "I did what I had to do," Rohan continued. "In this place, no one hands you anything." "And loyalty?" Arav asked. Rohan's eyes flickered. "Loyalty doesn't pay rent." The honesty was sharp. Arav studied him. This was not a monster. This was a man afraid of being left behind. After Rohan walked away, Arav sat still for a long time. Revenge had once felt simple, exposed him, restore balance. Now it felt layered. If he destroyed Rohan, would he fix the culture that rewarded bold claims over quiet work? Or would someone else simply take his place? The campaign neared its final evaluation. The board scheduled a decisive meeting to assess leadership effectiveness and future direction. Rumors spread that regional restructuring was possible. Promotions could shift again. Roles could change. Arav felt the tension building toward something inevitable. He reviewed his evidence file last time, clean, precise, damaging. Then he opened his new proposal, strong, original, entirely. His two paths lay before him, one fueled by anger, the other by ambition. As the date of the board meeting approached, Arav realized the real revenge might not be exposure at all. It might be proving that integrity could still win without becoming what he despised. But he had not decided yet, and the decision would have to be made soon.